This is such a physically and mentally demanding role, and you handle that with so much nuance. What was your preparation like as you stepped into Nate's shoes?
Thank you, by the way. It was yeah, it was. I was quite intimidated by it at first, by the transformation, but it was just about, I guess, learning more about the injury itself first, just learning the details of how it affects the body, and then trying to expand on that physically. So what parts of the body can I move and when in the script? Because in the script there's a sort of there's a rehabilitation and a progression.
Yeah.
So at what points in the scripts can I move this arm, and and I was working with this physical therapist called Nancy Lerher, who works down in Atlanta with people who suffer from spinal cord injuries. And so she was unbelievably helpful, and we worked together every day for 3 months really. Yeah, the physical transformation was a lot, but it was, I mean, that's why I was so excited to work on that, because this movie came to me mid-pandemic, not much going on, and suddenly the opportunity to work incredibly hard was extraordinarily exciting.
This film also creates visibility for a community that's often neglected on screen. Did that bring an added sense of pressure or responsibility to this role?
Absolutely. You don't see quadriplegics on camera a lot, so I wanted to do the community justice. I spent a lot of time with this guy called Craig Cook and this guy called Ned Rogers, who the movie is loosely based on Ned's story in particular, and him and his monkey Casey. So I spent time with them, just chatting it up and talking about their lives and their injuries and how they're doing and their relationship with their monkey, and really trying to immerse myself in it so that I can begin to understand what they're going through. But the funny thing is the two of these guys are just so funny, so relaxed. There's just full acceptance about this is just something that we have, and that's all it is. And it's not a big deal, and everyone treats it like a big deal, and we are still ourselves. And it was incredibly it was a big moment for me actually in my research, was just laughing with these guys and just realizing that actually this movie is going to be a lot of fun for me. They took the pressure off slightly, but yeah, I hope we get everything right in terms of what we show.
It definitely is. Yeah. This actually might be a strange question, just given your last answer, but during the rehearsal process, you got to experience what the disabled community encounters on a daily basis. Can you talk a little bit about that experience and the impact it had on you and the way that you approach this character?
Yeah. Well, apart from those conversations that I had with Craig and Ned, I was given my character's chair 2 weeks before shooting, so I had 2 weeks of just being in the chair constantly. And I would go to all the rehearsals, and I would meet I was meeting the monkey in that process too. So I was meeting the monkey in the chair. One thing that was really interesting was I just had some errands to run at Target, so I just went to Target in the chair, and you just start to notice how people behave in public with you. And I noticed there was sort of two different responses. One was a lot of people were overly courteous, incredibly wide-eyed and hi, how are you? And kind of felt a little bit patronizing. There was one moment where I was going into a 7-Eleven. I swear to God, I was 25 yards away from this 7-Eleven, and a guy is holding the door open for me already. Just like, I'm like, man, you're gonna be stood there for a couple minutes. It's gonna take me a while to get over there. But it's fascinating to see people's responses, and it really that's when I sort of felt like, oh, I'm truly getting into the mind of the character here, because I'm feeling patronized, I'm feeling ignored. So yeah, it was really helpful, really helpful.
In a lot of ways, your relationship with Ali, the monkey, mirrored Nate and Gigi's relationship and journey in the film. Did you feel that bond and connection strengthen as the filming process went on?
Yeah, yeah. It was, yeah, it was a huge surprise to me that I didn't. I was very tentative at first. Obviously, you're working with an animal, and I'm not particularly familiar with monkeys. I was nervous. There was a strict set of protocols that I had to follow at the beginning of the process. And then you work with her every day for 3 months, and so by the end, there was a big day for me, maybe about 4 weeks in, where she, usually the monkey wranglers would bring her over and put her down on me and tell her to stay, but that morning she just hopped on over to me, jumped up onto me in the chair and just sat there, and that was it. And I was like, oh wow, now she just knows where she needs to be, and there's a relationship building. And then one day on set, she just started grooming my hair. It wasn't needed for the scene. She just started doing it. It just happened, in between takes. And I was like, oh, wow, I think she likes me. And hair and makeup artists would come and sort of, be like, oh God, she's touching his hair. You shouldn't do that. And she would protect me from them. She would sort of, so we really did have a relationship by the end, which was, and it's the same with any actor. When there's a relationship between the actors, when there's a chemistry, it makes the scenes alive. So it was extraordinarily beneficial for the film, I think. I hope.
Yeah, it comes across on the screen. It's really unpredictable when you're working with an animal, which feels very similar to what it's like to perform on a live stage. Did you find that your experience in theater allowed you to adapt to working with Ali and also director Nick Ham, who's really big on improvisation?
Yeah. It's funny, I hadn't made that connection about the theater. But I mean, I suppose for me, what my experience in theatre has helped me with is just an acceptance of whatever's happening is happening. So when the monkey was doing very strange things that sometimes hurt or were just not what the scene called for, I was ready to sort of just go with that. And Nick, obviously, that's what Nick wanted. Nick wants these little accidents, that actually that lack of rigidity, So yeah, maybe it was theatre, but I was more than happy to just roll with the punches, roll with whatever Ali gave me.
Yeah,
Ali was the name of the monkey. Sorry,
yeah.
in real life, that's her name, Ali.
Actors often say that they take a bit of each of the characters that they play with them to future projects. What has playing Nate taught you about your craft?
When we meet Nate, he is a risk taker. He's this ball of energy. And you could say that, oh well, his risk taking backfired because of the circumstances that he finds himself in. But for me, he continues to take risks throughout the film, and that's just who he is. And that risk taking is something that I have. Well, that's what I found very moving about him as a character, and it's something that I've tried to adopt in my life and carry with me. And I found myself taking more risks during the film just because of Nate. Having said that, I don't think I will be jumping off 50-foot cliffs like him. But,
I got one final question for you. There's so many timely and relevant themes within this film. Was there one in particular that hit home for you? What do you hope audiences take away after they see it?
I mean, the importance of service animals to disabled people is one, and and the other is family, the strength of family, and how much they, if they are there, how much they can provide. And I just hope audiences are as moved as I was when I read the script.